everybody, Happy New Year. I hope that the start of 2022 has been kind to you so far. I think that's all that we can really hope for, given everything. So today I am here with my, I don't know how many times I've said I'm going to film it, my TV wrap up from 2021. So like last year, the plan is to just run through everything that I watched last year. I'm going to list every show one by one, without any detail, without any recap, literally just list them genre by genre, and let you know what platform they were on. And once I have listed them all, I am going to run through my top 5. So there's a lot to get through. Unsurprisingly. And so without further ado, I am going to just start running through them. If you are not interested in hearing the list and you literally just want to know what the top 5 were, because I will go into them totally spoiler free but in slightly more detail and talk about why I love them, I'll put a timestamp somewhere around about here and you can just skip to that time. Alrighty, so let's go. Category number 1 is dramas. The Wilds Season 1 on Amazon Prime Video. Back to Life Season 1 on Netflix. Bridgerton Season 1 on Netflix. White House Farm on Netflix. Virgin River Season 3 on Netflix. I would like to add, once again, this video is not sponsored by Netflix. Maybe next year. Cruel Summer Season 1 on Amazon Prime Video. The Morning Show Season 2 on Apple TV. You Season 3 on Netflix. Maid on Netflix. The Shrink Next Door on Apple TV. The next category is TV dramedies. The Bold Type Seasons 1 to 4 on Netflix. Never Have I Ever Season 1 on Netflix. Good Girls Season 4 on Netflix. Sex Education Season 3 on Netflix. The Chair Season 1 on Netflix. Physical Season 1 on Apple TV. And Kevin Can F Himself Season 1 on Amazon Prime Video. Next we have TV comedies. Bonding Season 2 on Netflix. Superstore Seasons 1 to 5 on Netflix. Ted Lasso Seasons 1 and 2 on Apple TV. Sexify Season 1 on Netflix. Trying Season 2 on Apple TV. Feel Good Seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix. Brooklyn Nine-Nine Season 7 on Netflix. Grace and Frankie Season 7 Part 1 on Netflix. And Acapulco Season 1 on Apple TV. Next category is documentaries / true crime content. Sophie, A Murder in West Cork on Netflix. ELIZE Matsunaga, Once Upon a Crime on Netflix. CARMEL, Who Killed Maria Marta on Netflix. And Surviving Death on Netflix. Next category is romance / rom-com, which is usually one of my most watched categories, and even though there were a lot of very cute couples and relationships I got on board with this year, all of these shows seem to fit into other categories except this one, and that is Christmas Flow on Netflix. Next category is reality TV. As we all know, I am not a big reality TV viewer, so the only 2 that I watched this year were RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars Season 6 on Netflix and RuPaul's Drag Race UK Seasons 2 and 3 on BBC iPlayer. Next category is anthology. There's only one in this category too, and that is Modern Love Season 2 on Amazon Prime Video. And the last category, as always, is soap opera, and once again, every day I have watched my beloveds Home and Away and Neighbours, both on Channel 5. Alrighty, so we have got through the list. That is all of the shows that I watched in 2021. There was some really good stuff in there. There was some unexpected stuff in there. I do want to give an honourable mention to 2 shows. The first one is The Bold Type. I binged seasons 1 to 4 of this when it first went up on Netflix. I am so keen to see the final season. I have not got access to it yet. But this show, I mean, I'm not saying it's the best written show in the world. I'm not saying it's the highest quality show in the world, but what Schitt's Creek did for me last year, where it just came to me at a point in the pandemic where I really needed something to just fall in love with and binge, this then did the same. I loved the way that it explored a world that we have already seen before. Women's magazine in New York City, young women kind of navigating work and love and friendship and life is hardly groundbreaking kind of content. However, it just got me. I just fell in love with these friendships, these 3 characters, and the way that they interact with each other and just help each other through everything that they're going through. I just thought it was so good. And the other shout out that I want to give is to Acapulco, which was an unexpected gem that I watched on Apple TV. It is one of the cutest, most colourful, loveliest, easiest to watch, gentle, captivating shows that I watched all year. It was just so fun, and I could not recommend it highly enough. So without giving any spoilers away, it's got a time jump situation, so it is set between the 80s in Acapulco and modern day, where our main character is telling his nephew about his life in the 80s in Acapulco working at this hotel resort. And it's just really sweet. It's just really sweet and cute and colourful and uplifting. All right, on to the top 5, the moment that we've all been waiting for, or the moment that I've been banging on about for the past like 6 months. Number 5 is season 2 of Trying on Apple TV. This is a show that does not get talked about enough. It is just wonderful. I fell in love with season 1 of Trying last year and thought that it was one of the loveliest things that I watched all year. It didn't quite make the top 5. And so when season 2 arrived this year, I was so excited, and I feel like season 2 surpassed my expectations. It tells the story of Jason and Nikki, who are a couple in London who have been trying to have a baby. They have tried naturally to have a baby, they have gone down the IVF route, and they've reached the point where they feel that the only way that they're going to make this happen is to adopt. And so it is really just exploring their journey, navigating the adoption system, making their lives as suitable for adoption as possible, and the kind of trials and tribulations of that along the way. They are played by Rafe Spall and Esther Smith, and they are just 2 of the most lovable characters that you'll ever meet. I can't imagine rooting for 2 people more than I root for Jason and Nikki. I just want good things to happen for them. The cast is amazing. Imelda Staunton is also in it, and she is just like superb. And everything that happens in it, every disaster, every triumph, just gets you so emotional. As I say, I root for these characters so much, and I think that's such a sign of good writing and good acting. And everything put together in this show has just made for the loveliest, most uplifting, funniest, sweetest show, and I just need more people to be talking about it. Obviously, this is something that is a sensitive subject, so it's not going to be for everybody, but if it is something that sounds like it would be up your street, I highly recommend, if you even get an Apple TV free trial, just watch Trying, because it's so worth it. Number 4 is a show that came into my life relatively late in the year, and it was all my own fault because I put off watching it, and that is Kevin Can F Himself on Amazon Prime Video. This is just the most original, unique, interesting concept of a show, and I know that I said it a million times at the time that I watched it. I just am so impressed that they managed to do something so new and so unique. It's very hard to do something original on TV these days. Everything has kind of been done, you just have to try and kind of put a spin on it, but they've done something so different. So without going into spoiler territory, which is quite difficult with this show, it tells the story of a sitcom wife who is living not her dream life, and makes the decision that she has to change it. And it is filmed in 2 completely separate, different, very visually and very tonally different ways. So you kind of enter the show as a sitcom, and you have scenes sort of in the living room of their house, in the kitchen of their house, that are that brightly lit, colourful, daft vibe of a sitcom, where you've got the laugh track and the script's really cheesy and corny, and people make really bad dad jokes, and it just feels like a very traditional sitcom. And then she'll walk into another room and it switches completely, and it's really dark and moody and dramatic and atmospheric, and it's like a proper dark drama, and it's just so clever. Annie Murphy, who plays Alison, the lead character, is phenomenal. I loved Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek, and she's so talented, and this is just such a completely different part. You can forget all about Alexis. It is something extremely different, and I'm just so excited to see where they go with this in the next season, because it's like nothing I've ever seen before, and in the best possible way. Alright, we're on to number 3 of the top 5, and this was actually in the 2nd spot until very recently, and that is Sex Education Season 3 on Netflix. I just love this show. If you watched my video, this video last year, then you would have seen me sit and rave about Sex Education as a show. It's one of the best written things that I have seen in so long. It explores the most important topics, from the disaster that is our sex education system, all through teenage heartbreak, teenage romance. exploring gender, exploring sexuality, parenting and the difficulties that can kind of come with being a parent, and how very often teenage children kind of have to parent themselves. It's just a phenomenally clever, well written, beautifully acted, funny show. I did mention at the time, and that is that if you are sensitive to traumatic things happening to animals, I would skip the first minute and a half of episode 3, because something happened in that I, to this day, like 6 months on or however long it is, I wish I hadn't seen or heard. I'm just going to leave it there. The other one thing that I do want to say about this show though is, can we just give Connor Swindells, who plays Adam, like all the awards, because he's been incredible since season 1, but in season 3 he actually just, there were moments where he just actually broke my heart. He's so good and he plays this part just so perfectly. Alright, number 2, we're getting very close to the top spot now, was a show that I just watched at the start of December, and that was Made on Netflix. This show absolutely blew me away. It stars Margaret, I don't know how to pronounce her name, either Qualley or Qualley, but she's Andie MacDowell's daughter. Did not know this until I was about 7 episodes in, there's 10 episodes, and Andie MacDowell and Margaret play mother and daughter in the show. So I didn't know that they were also mother and daughter in real life, but their dynamic on screen just shows how close they are, because they acted this just incredibly together. So it tells the story of a young mother who is in a volatile situation and decides to get herself out of that and try to change her life. So it explores parenthood, it explores single parenthood, it explores domestic abuse, so obviously that's something to note. It explores poverty, and basically just tells the story of this young woman making a decision to try and change her life, but showing how difficult that can be. I can't even put into words. It's one of these shows that you just have to see for yourself. I can't put into words how incredible it is, and how moved I was by all of it, how many times I cried, how phenomenal the wee girl who plays her daughter is. If you haven't watched Made yet and you feel like it is subject matter that you can deal with, I could not recommend it highly enough. The other thing to note is it also deals with the struggles of having a parent with mental health issues. So again, just something to note. Beautifully acted, very hard in some moments where you just want good things to happen for this girl, and as so often happens in life, there's a lot of bumps in the road. But it's beautiful, it's so well written, and I just absolutely adored it. And now, 22 minutes since I started filming this video, we are on to the top spot. The number 1 show that I watched in 2021 will be no shock to anyone. It was Ted Lasso. If you told me this time last year, or any time before that the number 1 show I would talk about looks so much to be about football, I would not have believed you. So Ted Lasso, if you somehow managed to avoid it, is on Apple TV, and it tells the story of Ted Lasso, who is an American coach who comes over to England to coach a football team. He knows nothing about football, he has never worked in this sport before, and it is a journey, to say the least. It is one of the warmest, funniest, most uplifting, joyful things that I've seen in so long, and Jason Sudeikis, who is the creator of the character, creator of the show, is just a genius. He's just done the most incredible job with this character and with this show. The entire cast is phenomenal. I have fallen in love with like all of the characters. They're just so cleverly written, and you just get them and you know where they're all coming from, and they're funny and they are complicated. They go through so many trials and tribulations over the course of these 2 seasons, and I cannot wait to see where they go next. It is a show mostly about hope, about positivity, and about navigating the really real difficulties in life and trying to do so with an optimistic view, how that's not always going to work. It also deals so importantly with male mental health in sport, which, as we know, is a massively important issue. Young men and mental health is a kind of crossroads that we know there are a lot of issues with, and there's not enough open dialogue about, and I think this so cleverly shows these struggles and opens up a conversation and a dialogue around them in a way that is approachable and still has a sense of humour, but does so in a really like honest way, and it's just, oh, I just love it. Alright, so that's it. I've now talked for 25 minutes. How I'm going to edit this video down is anyone's guess, but I better go and try and do so. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what your #1 show of the year was. Let me know if I've mentioned a show that you haven't seen yet that you would like to see, and if you've watched anything that I haven't mentioned that you'd like to recommend to me, recommend away, because you know that I'm always looking for new stuff to watch. Happy New Year again, guys. I hope that you're all doing really well. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.